So we'll just have a conversation.
Okay. Nothing unusual about that.
Nothing unusual about that. So I guess, I don't know, I haven't really thought out many questions, but what did it feel like when I told you about my diagnosis? What can you remember?
I just tried to think back, because I didn't think you were any different to anyone else, except you were trying to be more grown up than your age. That's all, when you were a kid.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It does, and I didn't really see you as having a disability, but when you said that, I was sort of trying to remember little things.
But did it bring any feelings out of you, rather than, like, you know, that there's memories obviously, but did it make you feel any differently about how your perception of?
Yeah, it did, because I felt a bit concerned that I didn't pick it up and like help you out more. I mean, I remember you being a bit slower on reading.
Yeah.
And I sort of, I wouldn't say I got angry, but I remember, I can't say for instance, Peter and Jane. Now, Peter and Jane go for a walk. Now, who goes for a walk? I don't know. That's just a thing.
Remember that. I do remember. And I remember you being, sounding frustrated or asking me, why can you read it on one page and not on another, later on.
That's true.
But again, I mean, yeah, I suppose for context I should put in that I'm the oldest, so I was your first child.
Yeah, I didn't know any different, you see. I'd not really done and you were just always trying to do things that would sort of too old for you.
Yeah.
Like riding a motorbike. No.
Steal the car.
Yes.
Pay the mortgage.
Yeah. No, you were always trying to do things. I mean, everything you did was like, I felt like you were in a baby's body, but you were an adult.
Actually, yeah, going back to being a baby, because I do remember some feelings of being, you're not necessarily a baby, I don't think, but definitely being young. Like when I'd get up early and like I'd be uncomfortable in things and climb up things and you know, play with the wallpaper and stuff. I mean, do you remember things about me being a little baby like that?
Yeah. You didn't sleep much for a start, but when you're awake, you're always looking round and you were trying to lift up. When you were sort of very young, you were sort of forcing yourself to sit up, and I used to, in those days we had prams, big prams.
Yeah.
So I used to have you around me in the pram, or then move you around, you know, carry you around or whatever, because you'd get bored very quick. That's a word I use, but anyway.
No, I know what you mean. Like, it looked like I was getting bored.
That's it.
And I think I liked the washing machine, didn't you say? Or something.
I used to put you near the washing machine. Yeah, those bouncy chairs on the top. Because we had a worktop on top of the washing machine, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It was a wonder I didn't bounce off.
Yeah, well, anyway, you did. I can't remember what toys you liked. I can't remember that. Obviously, but to say I remember being quite conscious that some toys made you angry.
Right, yeah, and I remember you saying that to me as I got older, that, you know, because I'd ask for something and you'd say, well, that probably, you know, you probably won't enjoy that, or you won't, like, that won't be whatever. What about, I mean, was there anything, looking back in how I interacted with Becky, I suppose, because Sarah was probably too little in those early, like, really young childhood.
Bossy.
I was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Surprise.
But then again, you see, with the second child always would probably, well, I don't know about always, but they want to do what the old one's doing, so she would probably have got on your nerves a bit as well.
Yeah,
you know,
I remember Becky getting on my nerves. Yeah.
So that's
and I'd be talking very young. I'd probally be like, she's 2.5 years younger than me, so I might have been 3 or 4, and thinking that I remember her knocking down my towers.
Yes.
But I don't necessarily think that was particularly autistic of me. I
mean, food was a big issue as well, actually, come to think of it. Thinking about it, you were very funny about food. You used to be really angry, crying a lot in the morning.
Crying in the morning?
When you're a baby. Yeah. When you get up, you were crying. And I thought you wanted something to eat. And this is when you're on solids. You wanted something to eat, but nothing was right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember that. You used to get mad, but once you've eaten, it's a bit like someone being angry when they're hungry now.
Well, it's funny because I always, even now, when I get up, I'll have some toast. Yeah. Like that's always been a thing for me. Yeah. It's like you almost need to kickstart yourself in the morning.
That's true.
But yeah, I suppose as a baby or a young kid, you don't necessarily know what to even, you don't know what's going to help until you've had it.
No, that's true. But you were, I mean, you didn't like a lot of foods, that's one thing, but that's quite common in children anyway.
Yeah, it is. I remember when Becky came along and, I mean, she was little and was running around. It might have been at Christmas and she weed on the floor and then and everyone thought it was funny and I weed.
Yes, you do, yeah. Because nobody thought any worse of Becky because
she was a baby.
So you just stood there and weed as well.
Did. And nobody thought it was good.
No.
I remember not understanding that as a concept. Yeah, I suppose if we sort of fast forward to, so we've got there's a little bit of school with the reading. I remember struggling with that. But a lot of, I mean, I remember being at school and I really was quite good at it, I think.
Yeah, you were. The only thing I'm just thinking about is a preschool type thing.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't like that. I ended up going there as well, but I don't think it was that you didn't want to be on your own. I think you didn't like someone bossing you around.
No, I didn't. And I think looking back, there was several parts of the day that I still have strong emotional response to, because they used to sing a song called The Farmer's in the Den, The Farmer Wants a Wife, whatever. And I hated that song with a passion because someone had to be the dog. Well, there was two things. You had to hold hands in a circle, which I didn't like. I just didn't like that whole thing. And then someone got chosen to be the dog and then people would pat the dog. Yeah. And sometimes people would pat the dog too harshly and I didn't want to... So I had anxiety around them, that song. And when that song when they'd say, let's play that and do that, I'd get really not happy at all. But then I was interested in the phones, wasn't I? They had a big phone room.
Yes, you did, the big old-fashioned phone. Yes, I remember that.
And I think I remember getting really upset with the way that the teachers were talking, as if we weren't there.
Babyish as well.
Yeah, I remember drawing pictures and them standing behind us and basically commenting on the drawing as if we couldn't hear them, but I was sitting there and see, I didn't like that, but. No. Yeah.
Also, there's a thing about generally, there's boys you like to be friends with more, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I do.
I remember
it was an
that.
Awkward time when you were at nursery. Well, it wasn't. It was called play
school. Play school. Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think you like. I don't know whether you like being the centre of attention or not. It was quite complicated because when you did some things in like a nativity or what, you were all right in that.
I always wanted to be in plays at school because I think I wanted to do everything. I did want to do everything, and I thought that's, I was quite, I thought I was really good, to be honest, if I'm being brutally honest. Yeah. I thought I thought I was just really good, full stop, and I should be in everything. But often I remember a couple of school plays when I was in them that I just completely froze. I didn't know what I was doing. No. I sort of didn't have a clue what was the point.
No.
So I think I volunteered for things or wanted to do things because I didn't, it was almost like out of an impulse of wanting to do it, but then I didn't really have a concept of what we're actually doing.
No, I understand that. I mean, I've obviously been at home. I didn't know what you were doing at school, but
no.
I do. Yeah, you were. I don't think you objected to going to school. Some people do, don't they?
Yeah.
Some kids do when they find it difficult. But I think you didn't find it difficult at all.
No, I liked it, especially primary school was my most comfortable, definitely.
Probably the staff you didn't like rather than at school.
Yeah, when there's teachers that are a bit off, I didn't.
It's old-fashioned teachers.
I sometimes I felt like the teachers were being a bit picking on the wrong thing, focusing on the wrong thing. And then by the time I left primary school, or that last year, I thought that I'd probably be able to teach the class better, which again was a sort of a funny sense of self-esteem that was...
Yeah, you did have that. You did have that. I'd say that was... You're very confident. I
was confident.
You walked early as well.
Yeah.
Was you 10,
but what about I always used to struggle getting dressed. I know that's a funny thing, but like when I was at primary school, every time we had sports and we had to get changed, I'd when I got redressed into my clothes, I'd always forget to put something on or lose something.
Oh, you're always losing clothes, or bringing the wrong ones home.
Yeah.
And obviously you had eczema, and also you didn't like lots of materials. Some things used to really annoy you. I know that. So
I suppose that's it though, because when you've got eczema, I'm the oldest, I'm quite clever and confident.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like an autistic person at all.
No.
But when you look at the detail behind some of that, the patterns start to come out. But yeah.
I do only remember the food thing about, that's quite common though, as I say, only liking one thing 1 minute and not at all the next, and
textures and stuff. There was a few things. I mean, I did used to sniff everything. I had some funny habits, didn't I?
Oh dear, you had, oh dear, I don't know whether you should mention this.
I'm just sniffing everything. Where people have sat. Is that what you're talking about?
When you were a lot younger, nappies, you used to take your nappies off and wipe them on the window.
Oh yeah, that's weird.
I know.
But yeah,
I suppose that was a bit unusual.
I think I was upset. Yeah, but I did have a fascination with
poo.
Not really. I wouldn't say poo per se, but I think it was just, when you're a little baby, if you think of a baby's mindset, you've got that thing that's come out of you, and like, what is it?
And it makes a mark.
And I think it is. I think it's exploring, and you do quickly learn that it's not a good thing to play with.
You do, yeah.
But no, I think that was all part of that sensory thing, because I did like, making, like, I did like mud and being in the garden and playing with stuff. And,
you didn't mind being dirty at all. And you're always running. Running.
I think I was quite, I liked a lot of sensory, like a stimulation in terms of that. Like I'd always, like I was saying the other day about hanging upside down and like a lot of vestibular stuff. Climbing and hanging.
As I say, always running, climbing and hanging. And I can't think, but you seem to be good at puzzles and things like that, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I did like puzzles. I was doing puzzles, and I got really into darts at one point. Remember, it was when we were on holiday with Grandma.
Oh God, yeah.
I was really into playing darts and adding everything up really quick.
Yes, that's true.
But then I peaked early on my adding up. It didn't stick with me from high school.
No, you didn't.
But
I've forgotten that about that. She taught you the alphabet backwards, which was the best thing out.
Oh, I loved that.
Yeah,
that was really good. And I used to love sayings as well. Like, what are they?
Like proverbs, no.
Yeah, I remember reading, like, Aesop's Fables was one of my favourite books.
Wow.
Yeah, I loved that. We had an Aesop's Fables, like the penguin ones.
Yeah.
And I also really liked, I mean, this is going to sound too religious, but I did like the colour Bible thing that we had, because it was gruesome. Yeah. Like, the child's Bible with all the, you had the pharaohs and other bits, and it was just like these weird people.
I can understand that. It's fascinating well, there's another gruesome thing you like, all the Paulie books, you'd call them.
I loved Did I call them Paulie books?
Yeah, the people with all things like legs hanging off. And
when
we went to a library, that's what you'd go for, not the kids' colouring books, or not the kids' colourful books, but the Paulie books.
Oh no, I always wanted medical books.
Yeah, medical.
I remember that.
Yeah, well, and travel
maps.
The globes and maps. Yeah, the map. I knew, as I say, when I got a globe that you looking, I'm going to go there, and I thought, I bet she will. There you go.
Yeah, but, I remember lying in the front room. I would have been a bit older then, just looking at. We had all those atlases of the world in the different sections, and I used to love looking at them.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's good. Sort of it inspired your imagination.
And things like, but there's a lot of things I did now that sort of were quite, autistic focus, I suppose, things. But at the time it didn't seem, because I suppose socially I was functioning. I had some friends that were
you did have
pretty good friends. But I did struggle in other social areas that weren't school. Like school, I found it quite good, but ballet, I used to be quite shy and awkward in ballet, and I'd never dare ask to go to the toilet. And then sometimes I'd end up like almost weeing myself.
But you know what? You did quite well at ballet as well.
I did.
Yeah. I never sort of saw you had a problem, because I remember.
It was socially. I didn't have a problem with the content. It was socially. I didn't feel like I could talk. I didn't quite know how to break through. Like I didn't know how to communicate with people.
Well, that's yes. I think you like to be in control of them rather than be with them, if you like. You didn't want their I don't know, because it's,
I was a dictator. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. Well, you probably were. You probably were.
I think I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it wasn't. I say, when you have the first child, you don't know. You don't know what to expect, and there you go. I was happy with what I got.
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah, I was happy with what I got. We used to play lots of games, so Yeah.
Oh, we did a lot
your
of things.
imagination was very good, so that was good as well.
I think I was quite a good. I think I used to just like, so when I liked all the things we did, and used to get very enthusiastic about things like, the trips to the woods and stuff, and you definitely did that. So it probably was, I felt like we, if there was some weirdness to what I liked, I felt like that you certainly were leaning into it. Like you were giving me those opportunities, like science. We had the microscope.
Yeah.
You told us about the pond, although you did tell me our tiny pond had crocodiles in it, because I kept getting the frogs out.
Poor old Linda. She really thought that.
Yeah, well, I did for a minute. I did. I was like, I clicked on after a while, and then I would tease other people with it. But
it did have some funny insects in it.
Yeah.
It's about 2 foot by 2 foot, wasn't it?
It was tiny.
It was tiny. But also, the things is, you like to scientifically look at things as well.
Yeah, I did. I like the microscope.
Things. Even taking things to bits to see how they worked.
Yeah.
That's another thing. But you used to have lots of friends. You had friends around. And that.
Yeah, I was very energetic. I think that helped, because I'd generally be quite, a bit impulsive, very energetic, and was happy to do things. But I did, again, have quite a few social problems, because there was a few times when I went around friends that I couldn't sleep over. I'd say I wanted to, then I just bottled it at the last minute and have to come home, and I'd be upset, or I didn't like the smells of other people's dinners. Like when they're cooking dinner for you, and I'd be... are they going to make me eat something I don't want? Like, I didn't know how to handle things like that.
Well, like you say, you probably sensory, like if you're sniffing everything as a little kid, you should sniff.
I sound like a right.
I know. When we had people around, you used to sniff the seat.
I know.
When they'd gone.
Yeah.
I forget what else you sniffed.
I used to sniff. It wasn't all bum things.
No,
sounds terrible. I used to sniff dog food.
I remember you sniffing
polish. I used to sniff the polish. Yeah, and I got a blister on my nose.
Yes, you did. I said, have you touched that? You said, no, and you got a blister on your nose. So, that was a curling tongue, I think.
It was a curling tongue, or the curlers.
But no, you sniffed a lot of things. She's always sniffing.
I know. And I sniffed that little pebble and put it up my nose.
Oh, God, yes. And your dad got the Hoover out. But that's beside that. But no, you're adventurous, and you always, it wasn't, you're quite confident in things you did. But obviously, then you're saying about socially not. I can't remember what you were like when we went anywhere either. I can't remember.
I remember all of us, like, even later on as we got older. I mean, not older, but when we'd go on holidays and stuff, I know all three of us would be slow to join in. Well, especially me and Becky, the older two. And I mean, I suppose as the older sister, I wasn't really... I remember sometimes getting Becky to do things, like when, like, your mum, like my grandma, would ask us to go to the shops and ask for things. I wouldn't dare ask for them.
No.
I'd get Beck to do that.
Yeah.
But she wouldn't go unless I went. So we kind of like had our blind spots covered.
Yes.
I don't remember like Sarah being so bothered about that, but then she was very little, so she was probably too young.
There's a bit of an age gap, so it's
yeah.
There's
But those sort of things is what I remember. Those social, but a lot of that you wouldn't have witnessed as much, because it was more me me in situations like you do as a kid where you're on your own a bit more, but. I suppose, thinking about it now, like, how, I suppose, fast forward into adulthood and now, and having, like, me having the diagnosis and some of the conversations we've had, how does that sort of feel now as an adult, like, as I'm an adult? Does it kind of make it easier? It rang
some bells. Yeah, it did ring some bells, but... You said, oh, right, that's... Because, as well, I've had the experience of the kids growing up and their children growing up, so that was that. And you as an adult, you're almost too inquisitive for your own good, you wanted to... I
know what you said,
There's too many things you're interested in. You're like, I like that, you want... I don't know, you wanted to analyse things as all that... When we're out shopping... You used to look at labels all the while. You spend more time looking at labels. And actually, because the contents of things, what was in them. So, you're interested.
I remember trying to memorise the shampoo bottle ingredients for an adult. Right. And also, adverts. I used to sit in the bath and try and replay the advert for the shampoo or the chocolate bar or the whatever.
But as an adult, you did well. I mean, I your own life, because of divorce and that, and the arguments that your parents had, me and your dad, I think I was sort of think you'd had a struggle anyway.
Yeah.
You know, growing up through that time. And you also had allergies, so exams were sort of allergy
time.
High allergy time. So yes, it was. So you did well. I mean, I thought you did very well, but I didn't really see. You see, the thing is as well, is like I could see how my brother was in you as well. You know, things like that.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you probably wouldn't tolerate other people being a bit thick, if you like. Can't think.
No, I understand what you're saying, because I mean, I was definitely not as emotionally mature as I am now, and even now I'm not that good emotional intelligence compared to other people who are probably a little bit more on the mainstream. So I think back then, yes, I was quite intolerant, and I could be quite dismissive of people if they weren't.
That's true.
If they weren't on my sort of whatever level. I stopped thinking that I was better than people. I did. I stopped that relatively early on, and when probably still at primary school when. But then even so, there was still elements of that made me feel like I was somehow quite, I just felt like on a different level, not necessarily always better, but just definitely on it, like almost sometimes like an alien, sometimes
I was just going to say that, alien. It was, as if they didn't understand, you didn't understand them and they didn't understand you. That's
how I felt, But instead of now, I'd be more generous and realise that everyone's a little bit, and I am coming across a bit outside of the ordinary. Back then I would have been quite rude probably, but not necessarily in people's faces, but I would have dismissed them as their value as a person and dismissed their I was quite quick to be judgy, I think.
I mean, and I must remember, you've always had a great sense of humour.
I have.
Always doing. I don't know, from way back since I can remember, you probably crawling, you're probably telling jokes. I don't know.
I think that's a family thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a family
thing. Along with the love of the forest. Like there's a few themes that have come through, all through life. But seeing the funny side of things.
It does, yes, you can. That's good. It is good. But you're a bit of a comedian. I think that got you through a lot of situations as well.
Yeah. But no, I don't think, like, when I got I was as surprised, like, to have that click and go, right, okay, this might be something that I need to look into, and then look into it. I didn't, even then, like into my 40s, didn't feel that I was going to be diagnosed with autism. But since then, it's made everything make sense, if you know what I mean. Even for me, like, if I got to that stage of being an adult without going, oh, clearly there's this, it's clearly this, but just I can't afford the diagnosis, or no one will look at me, I didn't even have it on my radar, so I don't.
You had the struggles internally, and all I could see was someone who's got a lot of drive. Whatever reason that was, I don't know, but you did have a hell of a lot of drive, because some people probably could be more intelligent but they hadn't got the drive, but you certainly had the drive. You'd push yourself in everything you did.
Absolutely I definitely did. And I'd say that's true, because while there were some things I was good at, I definitely didn't have skills across the board, so there'd always be some aspect of anything that would trip me up. So I mean, I never felt, I felt like I had this potential, but I wasn't reaching it.
Did you?
Or that I was, like, not self-sabotaging, but that there was always something that I didn't quite grasp or couldn't quite, I suppose that frustration might have been evident at times.
Oh, well, yes, definitely. Yes, you get frustrated, but I don't know. We didn't have bad habits, really. You didn't go off drinking and drugs and loads of.
It's because I'm a rules girl.
Partner. Yeah,
you didn't have loads of partners. No, I didn't do any of that. I'm very much more, like, I am quite rules orientated, and I like health. Like I was very, I mean, I didn't do any of that.
No smoking. That was good. I'd say that, there was all really
No, my
good.
Coping strategy was just to work harder, and I think that's what burnt me out.
Yeah, that is. You push yourself. That's what I say. You push, whatever it was, So I think you probably did wear yourself out, and with your allergies, it didn't help either, because it's sort of, you almost got that extra thing to push against. You've got your own I won't say problems, own hurdles to get
Yeah,
over.
that's right. So
as well
even
as-
without anything else, there was
Yeah.
the allergies were big enough. Yeah, because I had really bad eczema for
Yeah.
quite a while, and that would flare up.
But I wonder if the flares up, because they do flare up when you're anxious. So
Oh yeah,
that's the thing. That might have been rather than it might have been something that you could see, but it's actually the cause of it is what's the problem. Like
I think so.
autism.
Same with my gut, because I had tummy ache a lot as
You
a kid.
did, yeah, that's true. You say you got tummy ache.
Yeah, I remember feeling quite sick a lot of the time, and even I mean that has carried on into adulthood. But now I know what it is. It is definitely an anxiety thing. So my eczema. Was, but I think it's like you said, it's not just the anxiety or just an allergy, it's a combination of everything plus overstimulation.
Yeah.
Could you tell, like, obviously back to when I was a little kid, like I think I would get wound up a bit too overstimulated.
You don't want to say it's hard to get you to sleep sometimes as well, but yes, you would.
Well, I used to fight going to sleep. That was another thing, actually.
As a little baby.
Yeah, that was another thing I hated
that.
preschool or play school for, because they used to make you have a lie down or a break, and I didn't like that.
No, you did used to fight going to sleep. I mean, as I say, first child, you think, oh my God, is all my children going to be like this? But no, you didn't get much sleep, and I suppose, and once you're awake, you're awake. You wanted to do things, whereas some children probably go back to sleep or whatever, but I bet you, I can't remember, but I bet you stopped having an afternoon nap quite earlier on. I bet you did, compared to other kids having a nap or whatever. But
yeah, well, even now, you see, I don't need a lot of sleep compared to other people, but yeah. No, it's interesting. It's definitely interesting, but does it feel like does it feel helpful now then? I suppose that's how I'd sort of finish them up.
It does feel helpful. It's like putting things into order in your brain a bit. It's like looking back and thinking, oh yeah, that's why she used to get mad with things, or that's why I was well aware that you were sort of working harder than a lot of kids mentally. I was aware of that, but I didn't know.
Did you ever feel that I was frustrated with you? Not as a mum, as in just anyone would, but just as a person, like as you personally.
I don't know. I didn't pick it up, but you might have been. I mean,
I don't actually feel like I don't know whether I did or not, but I was just wondering if it felt like that to you.
No, I didn't see it, but because I enjoyed children's company, doing things with children in general. So I enjoyed that, and enjoyed whatever we did together. So I didn't really. I mean, I did think. I don't know. Later on, I couldn't help you in much because I weren't intelligent enough. Did
that bother you? Because I think a lot of people do. I've seen that with people who know their children are autistic, and even that lady at the markets we were talking to who said her son's really good at math and she can't help him at all. I just wonder.
That's true.
I just wonder if that if sometimes that comes across as making people feel bad about themselves as a parent because they can't. They've reached their capacity, but maybe not.
Maybe a bit, but I'm not. You seem to manage all right, working things out for yourself. Where whatever it was, if someone told you, I don't think it's a bit like having an instruction book and not reading it. You try and do it yourself. So it's the same as whatever problems you got, maths or whatever. I mean, I couldn't really help you in a lot of